Hey, what's up, everyone? I have another quick video for you today. Uh, I know that a lot of other YouTube stations use a lot of fancy graphics and things like that. Sometimes I feel bad that this is kind of a low-tech station, so I thought I would start the slow ride towards getting a little fancier. So here we go. It's a piece of paper. Okay, it's not that for now. But the reason why I'm here is because some funny things happened this past week. As a lot of you know, I'm into coins and bullion and all that fun stuff. So as of today, it's October 17th. It's just before 6 p.m. And the international metals market tends to open up around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. Well, right now, from where we sit, copper is $4.72 a pound. About a year ago, it was about $3 a pound, and I remember not long ago it was around 240, 250 per pound. Nickel is up to $9.14 a pound, and about a year ago it was about $7 a pound. Now, I know a lot of you probably collect gold and silver, maybe some platinum, maybe some palladium. And you're thinking, who cares about copper and nickel? Why do I care? Well, as you know, copper is pretty big for use in building motors, in pipes, um, lots of stuff. Uses copper. It's a very conductive metal. It's good for a lot of things. We need copper. Nickel, there's a big demand for stainless steel. As a lot of you people know, there's a lot of different alloys to make steel. One of them is stainless steel. Stainless steel uses nickel. Nickel is also a little bit of a slow market, but copper is especially. Right now, on the London bullion market, there is basically a shortage. There's about an 89% decrease in copper prices, excuse me, in copper stores right now, and there's a big slowdown. So that's one of the things driving this up. And if you're watching this video, I'd really, if you don't have the Kitco app on your phone, install the Kitco app. Take a look at the prices right now, and then kind of check in over the next week or two. And I think you're going to see these prices rise. So why am I really bringing this up, other than having it be maybe a slightly interesting fact? Again, I'm a coin collector. So there's this website, you should check it out. It's called coinapps.com. It's kind of like coinflation.com, but in my opinion, it's much better. So basically, what I have here is scrap value for various denominations, Canadian and US. Now, the US pennies, when I talk about US pennies, I'm talking about pennies that were made 81 and before. In 82, there were some copper pennies made, but mainly copper pennies that were made. But I usually don't bother with trying to fish those out. I just don't have the patience, so I just keep everything that's 81 and under. Those pennies, which were almost entirely copper, have a current scrap value of 3.1 cents a piece. If you have a Canadian penny, I think the date for that was like 81 or 85 and before. I have to check into that. But the ones that are 98% copper are 3.3 cents for scrap, because they had a slightly higher proportion, very slightly, and they were a little heavier. So 3.3% scrap value. So when people tell you the Canadian penny doesn't have any value anymore because it was demonetized by the Canadian government, and oh, it's useless, it's worthless, you can't spend it anymore. Well, it's got copper in it. Not bad to me. You know, you get about 150 of them, you got a pound of copper. You got $4.75, man, almost. I've actually had this discussion with a coin shop dealer. He gave me a bag of pennies, and I was thrilled he gave them to me, but he's like, no value, nobody wants them. I'll take them. And if any of you have Canadian pennies you don't want, just give them to me, I'll take them. But I digress. U.S. nickel, as you know, it's a combination of copper and nickel. Scrap value on that is 6.4 cents, and Canadian nickels, 5.9 cents for the ones that are 25 cents, and 9.1 cents for the ones that are 99.9% nickel. So certainly not a bad deal if you come across them in your change. Now, I would not go to a coin shop or go to eBay or Craigslist and say, hey, is anyone selling copper pennies? Because they're going to charge you like 3 cents a piece for them, maybe a little more. And honestly, copper prices could drop in a day, a week, a year, whatever. I wouldn't do that. What I would do, and it won't cost you anything except a little bit of your time, is go through your spare change. If you see a penny that was made in 81 or before, just throw it aside, throw it in the can. You know, you'd be surprised how quickly they accumulate. I have a big bucket. I keep them in there, a big 5 gallon bucket. Plus, I have all the wheat pennies, so I'll filter out the wheat pennies in one spot, and the 81s, to 1959s, I'll keep someplace else. I actually pull the 59s out too, and the ones that are better grade. But again, I'm a coin collector. If you're just looking for copper bullion, get them. Nickels, I don't save every nickel, obviously, because that would actually end up running into a lot of money and have a lot of space issues, because they're all the same right now. It's not like we ever went to like a steel nickel that has a intrinsic value of 0. So what I tend to do is I keep nickels from 1969 and before. Most people who collect coins might only keep 59 and before. I keep 69 and before, and I keep the ones in the 60s precisely for this reason. The ones from 59 and before I keep basically for their numismatic value, because even if it's a common year, those common years weren't really that prevalent compared to later mintages, so I like to keep them. As far as the 60s, they had some absolutely massive, massive mintages, so the chances of them ever having any numismatic value are just about nil. But especially the 64, notice how many 64 nickels you get. But I like to keep them because I kind of have this whole bullion idea in my head, and I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility that in maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years we might switch to a steel nickel, and then all these other nickels will be pulled out of circulation, and that there might be a little bit of a premium put on them. So I think I'll just kind of keep the 60s, because at that point, they might be 60 or 70 years old, and some people just might prefer older nickels to newer nickels, even though they're fairly common. That's how some people are. So that's just something I do. Um, like I said, if I were you, I would definitely pull out the really old ones, because it's not going to be um, like a financial inconvenience for you if you just pull out a few nickels every week. Just like if you pull out a handful of pennies every week. I mean, pulling out 10 or 15 pennies, it's 15 cents. Think of some of the money we blow on really stupid things, and this is kind of a cool thing to keep aside. And if you really get into it, you might want to pick up some rolls at the bank, or maybe a bank box every now and then. I'm noticing that out of a roll of 50 pennies, that I usually would pull out maybe about 17 or 18 copper ones out of 50 on average. Sometimes I'll get these crazy rolls that people have put together, where they probably had coin jars just stacked up for decades. And I've had rolls where they were almost entirely copper, and I was pulling out 5 or 6 wheat pennies per roll. Those are like 1 in 100 visits to the bank, 1 in 200 visits. But under a normal circumstance, I'll get about maybe 17 or 18. So that's not bad. You're keeping those 17 pennies, which are 53 cents in scrap value, and only cost you 17 cents. Throw them in. I'm sure some fool would actually pay you like 3 cents for them at some point in the future. For me, I'd rather hold on to them for retirement in 20 or so years. Maybe they'll be worth 6 or 7 or 10 or 12 cents by then. I don't know. Maybe I'll have enough of them to put a roof on my house or something. Sounds crazy now, but it might not be that crazy in 20 years, especially with inflation currently at 5.4%. So just a little food for thought. I like to bring up these coin and metal videos every once in a while. It's something I really enjoy almost as much as knives and guns and stuff. So you have a good evening, and I'll talk to you later.